everyone. Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. And did you hear the intro music too? I'm guessing you saw the intro. Why is this? Whoa. I didn't put that on there. Why is the chat going on there? Just me. That's weird. Huh. Can you see that come through on YouTube? It does. Why is the chat? That's so weird. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know. That's so weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, well, that answers my question. I'm hearing me. Hi. Okay. Seriously, I want to know why the fuck that is. View docs, lock docs, scenes, sources. View. Huh. I don't know why that is. Oh well. It doesn't really matter. So, how is everyone? Hey, Clint Adams. Hi. Hey, Megan. Hi, Lily. Hi, Autistic Chill. Hi, Steffi. Hi, Reagan. Hey, Dash X. Hey, Sue Elliott. Happy belated birthday, Sue Elliott. Her birthday was yesterday. No, wait. Her birthday. Wait, yeah. It was Sunday. Yeah, no, it was yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. Jesus, I don't even know what day it is. Happy New Year. Hi, Grace Case. Happy New Year. I hope everyone had a fantastic and safe New Year. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give us another minute or two just because of that new rule or whatever YouTube has about shit. So about the first minute or two of a stream or something, I don't know. But I guess it's a real thing, so I'm going to give it a minute. All right, let me set up here. I am. Okay. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Live Life Whimsically. How's everyone's Monday? Mine's pretty good so far. My birthday's tomorrow. Yay! Although I don't know. I'm not liking the birthdays so much anymore because they just keep piling up. All right. Oh, well, thanks for stopping by, Suzanne. I hear you on laundry. I know that feeling. All right. So, basically, I was reading Katie Joy's comments there on her Instagram page directed towards, what is it, Jacob, I think is his name, Roloff or whatever, over Castro and Cuba, which I had my opinions on the whole thing, but that's not what it's not relevant today. It really isn't. And nor does it lend any credibility to how full of shit Katie is, and that's all on her. So we won't be discussing that, and this will not be in defense or in condemnation of fucking Cuba, Castro, of Roloff, of Kate, or well, maybe of Katie, but yeah, it's nothing like that. This is not going to be political by any means. Yeah, the kid whose farm isn't a farm. Yep, exactly. What did she called it a garden or something like that? Like, what? Like, dude, most gardens aren't like big enough to play like football in, you know, like at a like full size field or whatever. All right. So, all right, I did some work. I did some looking into shit, whatever you want to call it. So, here's what, like, basically, like, when YouTubers appropriate things like the educated, the licensed, or the credentialed, we end up with Katie Joy from Without a Crystal Ball. We end up with unsuspecting viewers believing the creator to be a voice of authority on a social issue. As a result, more of these viewers will often believe the information the creator shares in their videos, compared to those creators who are upfront and regularly remind their viewers that they're not educated or otherwise more informed than the average person on the matters. The problems this often creates range anywhere between like inciting an online and possibly offline hate mob to form and then go and harass a person online, to examples of defamation against a person through damaging accusations such as someone's assaulting their own sister or being a human trafficker. Then there are times when these delusions of grandeur a creator possess will run the risk of causing actual physical harm against a person or group. Like when one negligently and carelessly outs a safe house that is employed to give shelter and security to victims of human trafficking within religious cults, which so happens to be exactly what Katie Joy did less than a month ago. Oh, that's right. Shoot, I didn't put the links in there. Let me do that real quick. I wanted to wait because I didn't want to give too much of an idea of everything I was talking about. All right, 1 second. Stop coming on, light. All right, there we go. Okay, now if you refresh or whatever, you'll see all the links in here. They're not exactly in order though, but what I'm talking about though here about what Katie Joy did less than a month ago, it's linked. It's on her Instagram, or no, it's on her Facebook page, I know, but I also linked one of my older streams where I shared the screenshots and discussed them and read them and everything. So that's, if you care to go check that out, that's where you'll find that link. But this most recent example though of Katie and her like pseudo-advocacy, this involves Cuba, communism, and women. So apparently, like, while commenting on a post of Katie's, this Jacob Roloff argued with Katie regarding her assumed view of how all Cubans feel about Castro and the current regime in Cuba. Now, like I said, I'm not here to argue for or against Castro, political ideologies, or Jacob Roloff. I have my own opinions on all three, but that's not what I care to discuss, nor does it lend anything to Katie Joy in her lack of qualifications on the matter. So, no point. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, everyone has a right to share their opinion on things, mind you, but, like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Katie Joy. She isn't just simply sharing her opinion on her 300,000 subscriber YouTube channel. She is claiming to have a degree that gives her professional credibility on such matters. That's the problem. In one of these Instagram comments, she wrote to one follower, okay. She wrote to one follower, "Of course, I'm so sorry your family has faced such hardship. My bachelor's degree is in Spanish Latin American culture." I'm so sorry your family. Yeah, okay, you can. Okay. "During my senior year, I worked with displaced immigrant women from dictatorships in Central America. Their stories were awful." Now, I'm going to read part of that again. "My bachelor's degree is in Spanish/Latin American culture. During my senior year, I worked with displaced immigrant women from dictatorships in Central America. Their stories were awful." And another comment, this one was directed to Jacob Roloff. Katie Joy had stated, "I I have a degree in Spanish, Latin American culture. I lived in Spain, a country that was a dictatorship under Franco. I lived there and learned the aftermath about what these leaders do to their people. I interned and worked with women who fled dictators, guerrilla warfare, and the drug cartels in Central and South America, because those are right next to Spain. I've spent my entire adult life understanding their culture, not some state BS as you claim. Your tone and arrogance is astounding, given that people in this thread lost family to Castro's regime, lost their homes, lost their friends, have lived in Cuba with nothing under his control. He's not a hero. You are about as woke as a QAnon person that believes elite whatever are whatever. So, all right. Here's the problem though with what she claims. Most of it isn't true, and all of it is moot, whether true or not. Like, let's start with the degree, first of all, okay? According to the University of Minnesota, Katie obtained a degree in Spanish. So, I didn't put the whole page in there because there's other people's names and I didn't want to dox them, but the link to this is also in the description. And this is in no way, shape, or form going real life or doxing. I'm not even the one who brought up her fucking degree. She did this. She touted this as reason why people should believe her and listen to her as a voice of authority on the matter. This was her field of study as she said it. So this is her bringing it into play. Anyway, so clearly that's what it says there is Spanish. It's not in Spanish / Latin American culture, though obtaining a Spanish degree does offer some knowledge in that area, you know, because like once again, according to the University of Minnesota, students majoring in Spanish studies develop a critical understanding of the cultural and linguistic production of the diversity of Spanish-speaking countries. Core courses in the major provide students with the critical methods and vocabulary that ensure success in the more advanced courses, which focus on the language, literature, and culture of Spain, Spanish America, and the United States. From Spain's multicultural medieval past to its 20th century movement toward democracy, from the colonial to the post-colonial periods in the Americas, and to the growth of Latino culture in the United States, the major also emphasizes the changing socio-historical context of the Spanish-speaking world's rich cultural and linguistic realities. Okay. That's what you can expect from obtaining a degree from the University of Minnesota there in Spanish studies or Spanish. Notice though how according to the university that provided Katie with this education and her degree, nowhere does it state to give a higher education to geopolitical conflicts, political ideologies, historical leaders, advocacy, social work, women's studies, nor does it claim to turn a student into a Cuban citizen, either past or present. Having a degree in Spanish studies from the University of Minnesota does not qualify anyone to speak with any sense of authority on such matters. Instead, according to the website studyfrenchspanish.com, the top 6 career opportunities a degree in Spanish studies would open up are as follows. Translation interpretation services. 2. Employment in BPO, KPO, IT, call centers, and MNC. 3. Jobs for Spanish teacher, trainer, and lecturer. 4. Spanish openings in foreign embassies. 5. Career prospects in export and import businesses. And 6. You can learn and be employed in the importance of Spanish in tourism and hospitality. In other words, and pun intended here, she could be hired to teach others Spanish words, not to teach others through her own words. In her education, or if her education were in fact in the area she claims them to be, why does she hold no professional memberships to groups like Latin American Studies Association or the Modern Language Association? Furthermore, since she claims to have spent, quote unquote, spent my entire life or spent my entire adult life to understanding their culture. Why is she then not listed in any research groups or publications related to Spanish, Latin American studies and cultures? Why has she not once ever advocated on behalf of the immigrant women she mentions? What's almost funny is these activities Katie now claims as hers, how she's never mentioned them before. Not even when mentioning them would have proven beneficial, like on Katie's LinkedIn profile. On her profile page, she lists her experience in her past. Okay, she lists this as her experience in her past, lead enrollment counselor at Capella Education Company. So here she obtained the experience in managing new enrollments in the School of Undergraduate Studies, vast understanding of many business fields and skills needed for success, achieved senior EC status in July 2007 after successfully obtaining 120% of her enrollment goal for 5 quarters. Mentor new hires, manage team reports for referrals, provide insight and help on obtaining referrals from their learners. Promoted to LEC after successfully achieving goal of 120% for 4 consecutive quarters. Manages the mobile leads for Capella University and works through Facebook and email to connect to ECs. Currently, the POC for all Aaron's employees. I'm not sure what that means, but no. I also noticed here she said she hasn't worked, or have worked from home since May 2008. Huh. Okay. And then after that, she lists sales of construction to permanent loans for retail mortgage. Next, she says for her education there, University of Minnesota, Spanish Studies, activities and societies. She lists as volunteer Lyndale Community Center. Now, I provided the link to in the description for this Lyndale Community whatever center, and basically like it's your average community center. You can volunteer for a myriad of things, and most of which are just like I don't know, day-to-day operational tasks. Although they do have a program that they offer for like English as a second language tutoring. So I'm imagining that that's where her volunteer work would have probably relied or ended up being in. But here's where things get really interesting. As her over decade-long stint as a lead enrollment counselor, she lists her employer as Capella University. Though Capella is an accredited online university, the for-profit university has had some serious controversy. Basically, in 2006, they faced controversy when the U.S. Department of Education began a compliance audit of Capella, focusing on the university's policies and procedures concerning the return of Title IV funds as required by federal law when students who failed to give official notice that they were withdrawing from the school just ended up withdrawing from the school. The school was supposed to then return those funds. They didn't. In 2012, they received criticism for expenditures on marketing, profit, and CEO pay rather than on instruction, as well as criticism for its aggressive recruiting practices. And in 2018, a lawsuit was filed against Capella alleging the school violated doctoral students' rights by creating a process intended to ensure that it would be difficult, if not impossible, for students to timely complete or complete at all their doctoral programs. Basically, what all that means is recruiters for Capella sought out and most likely targeted students who were likely to believe all the recruiters had promised and who were likely to drop out of the university early on and without notice, thus kind of allowing the school to believe that they could keep the government tuition grants without anyone being the wiser. That is until the government caught on, but then the school just called them accounting mistakes. And when the recruiters approached people, usually without solicitation, they did this through aggressive sales tactics, alongside massive and expensive advertising campaigns funded with university profits and aiming to produce more profits. And wouldn't you know, Katie Joy was one such aggressive recruiter during these years in question. And according to her own LinkedIn profile, she was very good at her job. And she herself is even stated to have earned a comfortable salary in her job. I guess maybe being able to aggressively target people in both Spanish and English gave her an advantage there, maybe, in predatory sales. I wonder if it was during these unsolicited sales pitch calls that Katie would encounter these female immigrants, where she would hear these awful stories of displacement due to dictatorships, as she sold them the promise of a better life through a Capella University education, knowing damn well they were likely to either not complete their studies and drop out or just stop attending, or be unable to complete their studies in a timely manner, if at all. I mean, if she were actually educated or experienced in the way Katie Joy claims or believes herself to be, if she really were someone who studied on behalf of women and women's rights and advocacy, well, then her bio might read something more like this, like focusing on the relationship between aesthetic systems and identity formulations like gender and nationalism, as well as a daring interpretation of a foundational myth of Argentine national identity in the mid-19th century, as well as complex gender philosophies. Her penned efforts could possibly state as examining identity or ideas of femininity that were both foundational to I don't speak Spanish, modernismo's formation and exclusionary toward women's active participation in the movement as writers and authors. Other publications could possibly state as holding titles such as Radical Metrics of Feminist Rebellions, along with Eduardo Mancilla's Mestizo Argentina, Orphanhood, Transitionalism, and Race in Lucia Miranda. All right, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to ruin the language any longer. But these are just examples of what her bio would say. But funnily enough, this whole thing I read is just a small portion of one graduating classmate of Katie's from the University of Minnesota in the same year, who also obtained a degree in Spanish, as well as Portuguese and Latin American studies, before continuing her education, obtaining her PhD in MA. Katie went on YouTube. So, yeah. See, now, how this all becomes so damaging and dangerous lies in Katie's self-entitled role of advocate or reporter. A reporter is defined as a person employed to gather and report news as for a newspaper, wire service, or television station. No one employs Katie to do anything but Katie. She promotes herself, uses several social media platforms to garner followers and views, and asks the viewers to help fund her salary through memberships or supers or other means. There is no news media service hosting her reporting or standing behind her reports. She is hosting herself on a social media platform. Now, one of the links I provided in the description here is from a website, the Community Toolbox. And according to the Community Toolbox, advocacy is described as being an active promotion for a cause or principle, involves actions that lead to a selected goal, and does not necessarily involve confrontation or conflict. Though anyone can be an advocate, professional advocates work in fields related to their advocated cause or issue. No, according to pathfindersforautism.org. Again, link in the description. Now, I've argued that Katie would be more of an activist than an advocate since she argues for certain societal changes, but I was wrong to make that argument. Wait a second. Because, like, according to this one website, YeaCamp.org, it defines activism as, it's not official definition, but the official definitions don't quite fit activism. That's why this one exists now. But it defines activism as taking intentional action to make a difference for others with an eye on the big picture. And what that means is, see, since Katie Joy offers no pathway for change on behalf of those affected, and since her actions do not aid in creating any such change, I would argue she does not have her eye on the big picture. Like in this website here, YeaCamp, in their comparison to one who recycles, when you do it to protect the environment, you are eyeballing the big picture. But when you do it for the 5-cent deposit, though still a great result in the end, that wouldn't qualify as activism. Well, Katie's efforts are not made while eyeing the big picture, since her efforts are not made to create change for victims, but exist with the sole purpose to condemn those responsible. This does not enact change to a social issue overall, aka the big picture. This only fulfills Katie's desires and, well, yeah, okay, albeit likely any victim's desires, to see those responsible pay for what they have done. The motivation is internal and only in regard to that instance, that time. It does not benefit society overall since nothing was changed or put in place to prevent the issue from reoccurring time and again. Therefore, not activism. See, Katie's efforts and actions on social media, or she calls it her job, are made possible solely by Katie. She decides what should be said, shared, claimed, and who is responsible. She also assigns the title of victim and has no issue to take away that title for any reason that befalls her, real or imagined. She offers no path to real change on any issue she has discussed, nor has she offered any solace to those she has called victims. She has released private DMs between her and colleagues, those she calls sources, and even those she claims to be an advocate for. And for no other reason she's done this than to expose them for some perceived untruth or to exonerate herself against anything that she finds to be said that was insulting. She has inserted herself into numerous stories in efforts to present herself as an added victim or as the victim, thus refocusing and then consuming all the attention brought on by the story, as well as taking attention away from those who truly deserve the attention. It's easiest to speak on issues, I think, when you have confidence in your right to speak on such issues and are qualified to be heard by those listening. Usually one would earn this confidence through understanding of the issue, and those affected by the issue usually obtain through education on the issue, or one could develop confidence through experience on the issue, thus making them kind of a self-advocate. Perhaps Katie would rather omit a pseudo-confidence through pretending to have experience rather than pretending to be educated. Make no mistake, though, she is pretending. If she weren't, then the act of exposing a safe house for human trafficking victims escaping their captors would never be a possibility on her platform. A professional, a real professional, in any related field would never make that mistake. And if they did, they'd humble themselves for forgiveness and do all they could to rectify the situation. What they wouldn't do is then lash out at someone working as an advocate and then put them on blast on social media. Again, link in description. So, Katie Joy advocates and acts for no one but herself, oftentimes at the expense of those seeking help. I've heard her claim she's a liberal and all, and though I hear you speaking neoliberalese or whatever, Katie, you might want to wipe your chin because your objectivism is kind of showing. So, right back, okay. All right, that's it. That's what I had planned to say. I didn't want to post it as a blog post, so I did it in a video here. Like I said, though, all the links are in the description. In fact, I have a link for the Pathfinders website, the Community Toolbox, YeaCamp, link showing Katie's degree, link of what a degree in Spanish means, according to the university she attended, link about Capella University, link to Katie's LinkedIn profiles, Lyndale Community Center link. Don't contact them or harass them or give them any shit. Please don't even ask them any questions. Just don't. The only reason why I provided the link so people can see it was just your run-of-the-mill community center. It wasn't like some place for refugees or like displaced people from war-torn countries or cartels or whatever. That's the only reason why I provided it. And then there's a link to my stream that I mentioned, jobs after learning Spanish, and a link for the definition of reporter. I don't know, I thought I should add that. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, her Spanish degree does not include political science. And funnily enough, though, her university offered that as a degree too, like, because there were other people listed in her graduating class who did obtain such degrees, or such degrees that would likely make someone much more qualified to speak on these matters. And again, this is not in any way, shape, or form in defense of Castro or Roloff, or it's not at all what this is about. And it's not even about her sharing her opinion. By all means, she should. We all should, if we want. This is about her speaking as though she's an authority on the matters, and her claiming that this was her field of study. Her field of study was the language for the location that this happened. And yeah, you have to, in order to properly learn language, you have to learn about the place that speaks the language, usually. I mean, like here in Utica, this is all English, but tomato pie, no one's going to know what that is unless you're familiar with Utica. So you do have to learn some culture of the location. But there's a difference between learning some culture and a political ideology or geopolitical conflict spanning over decades or centuries. There's a big difference. So, yeah, exactly. And I mean, I have no doubt that one great big advantage for her doing so well in her job there as a recruiter for Capella University was the fact that she could contact both English-speaking marks and Spanish-speaking marks. You know, I mean, she really increased her odds there. So, hey Jay. I take it you've been talking to Amber. I don't know. It's up to her. It's up to her. But think in the spring. I don't know. Did she say not long ago she's not an advocate though, and that's why she doesn't have resources? Well, that's funny because she was presenting herself as some sort of advocate here, speaking on behalf of the many Cuban nationals that follow her accounts, her social media, her channel, whatever, and as well as all these displaced immigrant women she's helped while interning years ago, you know? Oh, you're not blocked yet, Autistic Santa? Oh my God. Yeah, you'll be blocked. It's funny, you're not blocked yet. Oh, Michelle was talking about Autistic Santa the other night? Get out. Yeah, you can share it. You want to send it to me in Twitter? I'll put it up. It's not gonna have like the cool like frame and shit though, because I didn't set it up at a time. Like I was only able to do this because I have Stream Deck, and I can do like, I don't even know, like I have 10, like 20 scenes at a time. Just have them ready to go. Shit's cool. And they make one that's like 4 times the size as the one I got too. It's crazy. Yeah, and I'm fully aware too of how I was on Nonsense's mind the other night. As usual though, she's fucking completely wrong, and you know, it's one thing to just like get things wrong, like be mistaken. It's another thing to purposely get things wrong. But hey, I guess that's more important to her than accuracy, than even just contacting someone and asking them a fucking question maybe, or whatever, or even just listening to the stream in which people obviously contacted you and directed you towards. I mean, because she didn't even get that part right. If she had listened to my stream, she would have clearly heard me say that I said them, after learning the things I learned, them reading that was kind of fucked up. But she claimed that there was no such thing like that said. Like, she claimed that I was all in favor of everything and I was joining in on it or whatever. But, you know, hey, what's accuracy when you're just talking about people and their lives and their reputation and their credibility and, you know, whatever. It's funny. Oh, why is my chat not moving? Okay. Done? Okay. Turn that off, right? Okay. Oh, on Facebook? You're not blocked on Facebook? Are you serious? Oh, wait, shoot, I gotta sign into another account. I'm blocked. I am blocked on Facebook. Okay, now I'll be able to pull it up. Oh, no, it's Instagram. You can, okay. I don't know. That won't work. Yeah, that one works. Okay, we'll do that one. So, Karen writes, KJ, using the horrors of coup d'etat and dictatorship that those of us have lived through. No, KJ, you don't speak for us, and you've never helped anyone in bad conditions. You do victimize us further and further. You make our conditions even harder to leave. KJ, shut the fuck up. Signed, a child survivor and former refugee living with CPTSD of the Chilean coup d'etat and dictatorship. Oh, I forgot. I always forget that you're from Chile. Oh my God. That's right. And this is, the screenshot shows where Katie had posted a screenshot of Jacob's comment. Not following how dictators have anything inherently to do with communism unless you're repeating the State Department line. And as I mentioned here, is a messiness to the Cuban expat community stretching back to the 50s. CIA prompting and propaganda and funding terrorism, sponsoring the Bay of Pigs invasion. If someone's grandfather was a successful plantation owner under Batista, it is a good thing that the economic reality drastically changed. Again, Castro better than Batista. U.S. bad for all. And she says, Jacob knows Cuban history better than Cubans. This is beyond disturbing. It's beyond disturbing. Like, you can just disagree with someone, dude. Like, seriously. Just fucking disagree. It's not hard. You don't have to condemn them and, like, fucking cut them off at the knee and shit like that because they disagree with you. They hold a different view. I mean, most of this is subjective. So, there is no, I don't know, whatever. Okay, how do I get back here? And there we go. I made one little comment on Instagram and got blocked. LMAO. Yeah. Why are we going out of our way to diminish her education or success, whether it be in her previous career or her YouTube career? So we're shit on women for being educated. Where do you get that? Like, where did I say that? Please tell me what it is I said that gave you this picture, this image in your head. What is it I said? Really? I'm sorry. Are we supposed to just fluff up people's credentials with, I don't know, some sort of sense of authority or something that's not there? Like, why don't you have a librarian perform your fucking, I don't know, C-section? Why don't you have your florist come over and repave your driveway? You know what I mean? It's just, why don't we just start doing shit like that? How about we just accreditate people for the things that they've accomplished and for what they're capable and qualified for, and not what they're not? Like, why does this have to be, I don't know, cutting down a woman in her education? Like, why is this all about gender? Why are you making this about gender? I could care less who it is. It could be a man saying the same shit, and I'd be right here saying, no, they're not a voice of authority. They shouldn't be out there on a huge public platform claiming to be like this, some sort of knowledge person in this, their quoted field of study, when it's not. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I would say it's karma, not diminishing. She's done it to others. Though that is true. That is very true. I'm not a big supporter in that, well, since she's done it to others, you know, she deserves to have it done. If it's right to do, it's right to do. If it's not, it's not. But I do empathize. Absolutely. Exactly. That's the problem. The problem is the overreaching, fluffing, and lying about high successes she never had. She did not study these things. She did not personally work with said immigrants of worn or displaced dictatorships and drug cartels or whatever. You know, I mean, that definitely doesn't make her more qualified to speak on Cuban politics. Like, not as, and then try to claim that it's her field of study anyway. So, oh, thank you, Peaches. You know. Like I said, hey, her opinion's her opinion. She has every right to share it if she wants, just like everyone else. But it's the claiming to be a person of authority or knowledge on the matter on such a huge public platform that's irresponsible. That's all. And it's just flat out dishonest. So, there's that. Oh, I guess that's it then. I don't know if I want to get in. I don't know. something. Well, I'm signed in over here. Oh, that's right. Yeah. There's one thing. Is she posted here? Yes. What happens if I do this? Is it cut off? Yeah, pretty much. Oh, there we go. All right, we'll leave it like that. So, down here at the bottom, she had posted the screenshot, and she says, Jacob Roloff mocks Cubans who faced atrocities. Is it supposed to be atrocities? It's supposed to be atrocities, isn't it? It's not like my fuck up of trying to mispronouncing or not being able to pronounce shit right, because that does happen. I'm the first one to admit that. That's a huge typo, right? Yet again. That's another thing too. Their comebacks, these comments and replies with Jacob were just filled with ridiculous fuck ups. Like, I don't know. Like, they would bug the shit out of me. Well, see, that's the difference, just saying. No one claims to be an authority on anything, Katie Joy. We're not authorities. We don't study her. We don't go to college. We're not tested and such on all things Katie Joy. We're not authorities on her. I don't know what you're talking about. You're comparing what we're talking about regarding this one instance with her, and you're comparing it to a situation that just flat out doesn't exist. I don't know what else to say to that. Come back when you find shit that does, I guess. Well, not you in particular, but so many in the community. Name who? Give me names. Who in the community does this? Who in the community claims to be authorities on all things Katie Joy? Seriously, who? One person. Yes, Capricorns do rock. Yes, I do agree. And that's another thing too. And I find myself doing this too often, just saying. So this is what I'm about to say. It's said just as much for myself than anyone. When trying to get a point across or whatever, you just end up lumping like a whole group of things together with one activity that maybe one or two people in the group have done, or maybe 90% of the group has done, whatever. But it's the overgeneralization and blanket blame. And that's one thing I know I have done as well, don't get me wrong, but it's one thing that I find myself facing often too. So I don't know, I'm trying not to do that. All right, let me get back to talking about this though. So it's supposed to be atrocities, right? That's what I'm going to assume it is. So she's saying that Jacob is mocking Cubans who faced these horrific things under Fidel Castro. So, and here's what he said. There is so much CIA interference, I can't hear you. But if you want to send me to Havana, I would be so owned and educated. Start a GoFundMe. To which someone up here had said, please read this and expand your knowledge of Cuban history. Perhaps seek out Cubans who fled the atrocities. Thank you. Okay. Jesus Christ, she shared a screenshot with the correct fucking spelling on it and everything. Oh my God. Who fled the atrocities that occurred there. It is still a communist country. Many Cubans live in Florida. You could ask them what it's like there too. Seek knowledge, seek truth. Now, first of all, where in this person's comment to Jacob are they saying that they're Cuban, that they faced said atrocities under Fidel Castro? So how is he mocking? Is he mocking this person, or is he mocking all Cubans with his comment? Because I only see him talking to the one person, not all Cubans. And this person is saying, perhaps expand your knowledge, get a better first-hand knowledge or second-hand knowledge of the atrocities that occurred there. You know, it's still a Cuban communist country. You can go there and see for yourself, you know, basically. And he's saying, great, if you want to send me there, I would love to go and get owned and educated, you know, whatever it takes, I will go. You know, for granted, he may mean that sarcastically, but that's not mocking. That's not mocking anyone. But sure, let's weaponize all this trauma from this group of marginalized people here for Katie's own fucking self-fulfillment. Her desire to just fucking hate on someone and see them like punished and see them suffer, see them pay for their fucking sins in Katie's mind. Allegedly, my opinion. Whatever. Okay. She laughs when real grassroots and advocates ask her to do better and stop hurting these communities, and pretends she knows better when she's causing more harm. That's a big problem. Yeah, exactly. And like, I noticed too, she's using spin tactics that I have often seen in conspiracy theory communities, you know, especially the anti-vax communities. I've said it before in a previous blog post I wrote that it's a good thing she's not an anti-vaxxer, because she would be a damn good one. She'd be an effective one probably. So it's good she's not. However, she employs the same tactics. She spreads misinformation in her own right, in her own way, in her own subjects or whatever. And she does cause harm. She just doesn't cause like a health-related harm. Like, she doesn't cause harm to public health, for example. Instead, she causes harm to people's reputations, their lives, their ability to earn a living, even. Or there causes a lot of harm, I think, to someone's experience on social media. And I don't mean like, okay, if someone goes out searching to see if people say shit about them online, then that's one thing. I mean, if I want to, I can go out and find a bunch of shit said about me online too, you know. But if I'm going to actively go out and seek it out, especially, then I don't think I can then sit there and say I feel harassed or whatever because I sought it out. However, there are a lot of people though who go online and try to avoid such comments in such areas online that are talking crazy shit about them. They try to avoid that. They don't want to see that. They don't want to read it. But instead, Katie has inspired a mob of people often to seek that person out and make sure that they fucking see it. Like, that's the same kind of tactics and everything I've seen in many groups on social media, probably every group on social media. But me personally, I just had my own personal experience with seeing it in the anti-vax groups. And I'm not saying pro-vaxxers can't, in their own right, be assholes. Sure they can, so don't come at me for that. I'm just giving my experience here. So she does the same thing. I mean, I can't help but to be reminded of the whole Micah Stauffer coverage she did. I mean, this family still is nowhere near social media or on the internet. And sure, I think that there were some ethical boundaries that were definitely crossed, and their YouTube channel in regard to their adoptive son and profiting and whatever, and some of the videos made. But I mean, if they were to show up anywhere in social media as themselves, they would be bombarded And that is almost entirely because of the coverage she did and how she covered it. The way she talked. I mean, she posted comments like just fucking tearing that woman apart. And you can argue that she had a cover and it was rightfully so. I'm going to disagree with you. Sure. I'm what she did was fucked up, no doubt. And see, the thing is, like I've argued them, and Katie knows this just as well as I do, that when it comes to parents who cannot, for whatever reason, they don't have it in them to handle a special needs kid or a child like the child that they adopted. Oftentimes, they will end up being in the news for having been harmed in some way, neglected, or made unalive. And that's horrible. And every time that happens, we find ourselves as readers saying, why didn't they just get the kid up for adoption? Why didn't they just do that? Well, here's an example of that. Here's an example where the parent did what you would want them to do, what you've been begging for these parents to do. That's what they did. Fucked up nonetheless, don't get me wrong, but that's what they did. And you're going to condemn her for like all internet eternity for having done that. But then write blog posts in support of one mother who did make her child unalive in the same kind of setting. And your reasoning for that was caretaker burnout. You know, I just don't get that. I don't get that. It's the hypocrisy for me. So. Oh, I don't hate her. See, and that's the thing. You may not see it as proportional, and that's fine. I mean, that's going to be a subjective viewpoint regardless. But again, me personally, and I can only speak on behalf of myself, I don't hate her. And I say this over and over again. And I don't wish any ill will towards her, nor will I ever. If I ever find myself or feel myself getting to that point, then that's when I need to go take a fucking break, okay? And I feel like everyone should keep that in the back of their mind, regardless of who it is they're talking about online. So I don't know. But I would imagine, though, that those who have been directly harmed by her would feel differently about the proportionality of how she's discussed online. You know, and I feel like that should be taken into consideration too. Not to the point where I should be the one talking about the person, no. But that there are two sides here, you know, when it comes to any harm that she's committed. There's her, and then there's the ones who have been directly harmed, you know. And, like, I think another thing is that, like, everyone fucks up. Everyone hurts someone. Everyone does shitty things at times. And sometimes we're all capable of doing some really shitty things. I think one thing, though, that just people find so frustrating is that most people, they have humility. You know, they have remorse. They have regret. They seek forgiveness, whatever. At the very least, they acknowledge the harm they've caused. They just fucking acknowledge it. And I think that's where most people get frustrated. Well, that's the thing. You can't stop her, just saying. No one will ever stop Katie from being Katie. But Katie. No one online is going to stop her. No one should be online in hopes or in efforts to make any kind of difference here, because that will never happen. It won't. It just won't. The whole point of, I think, talking about behavior that we find like infuriating or frustrating or bullshit or harmful or whatever is both to just, I want to say create awareness, but I'm not even sure. Like, I think we do create some awareness, but I think more than anything, when people are harmed and they feel like they're losing their fucking mind, they don't have any place to turn to. They don't really know what to say. They don't want to say something there because then they're going to get attacked, or they end up getting attacked. So I think that people find some sort of solace in knowing that they're not alone. So there's that. But me personally, I just find it important in every small community, in every small way, to acknowledge some shit things and discuss them, because if we ignore them, or we don't learn from them, or we don't point them out or become aware, then we're never going to improve or evolve. That's my whole point. That high guy, I'm reminded of that meme with the spray bottle that's like, no. Do you want to see her in bondage, Karen? See, I don't know. I think the important thing is to, like, I know, again, something a lot of people say, and I get the argument. Well, she talks about these people, and she does this, and she obsesses over the Duggars or whatever. So, she should expect it or whatever. Well, again, I'm of the belief, if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's not, it's not. Regardless of who the Vic is or whatever. But like, which is also why I think it's important, though, to when people do, when I well, not people, but when I talk about her, any issues or things that I find noteworthy, I don't do it in a place of hate, or coming from a place of hate, or directing any hate. Just, I don't want their responsibility, really. I don't want anyone hating people because of something I said or did, because I helped convince them. Let alone, I don't want them acting on that hate because of anything I said or did. Like, don't give me that kind of power. I don't deserve it, and nor do I want it. So I don't ask for it or try to obtain it. But I just saw your comment today. Hi, guy. Like, no. Yeah, right. Right. Oh my God. Fucking my eyesight's so bad today. I don't know why. Never seen Katie do anything selflessly. It's only if it benefits her in some way. She's not authentic, right? I agree. Thing is, I mean, she has every right to be as selfish as she wants, But yeah, I do think that if you're going to present yourself as something other than that, then you should expect to get called out on it. Like, no, if you're going to sit there and act like as if you're some noble person and doing things for the goodness of others, or for the best interests, or on behalf of others, when in actuality it's pretty much on behalf of yourself, well then yeah, that should be called out, because otherwise people might entrust you with things that they normally wouldn't if they had known the truth. So all right, one more thing, and then I'm going to wrap this up. I want to give one brief little response here to the bullshit, the nonsense was trying to spread the other night. I don't really care what she thinks. I mean, at this point, she thinks whatever Unirock tells her to think, probably. Like, yay. Like, how the fuck is that? And acting on behalf of women in any way, shape, or form. I mean, dude doesn't even have shoulders. I mean, come on. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and talk about my reading a report or whatever on a stream. I stand by what I did. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit what she or anyone else thinks about it now. I really don't. I'm over it. But as bad as she wants to think I am, I got to say, I'm at least not as bad as the person who will hijack any kind of crimes, or let alone crimes such as that being discussed, or hijack the trauma created by anyone who's gone through any sort of crime like that, and hijack it and use it and exploit it for my own personal fulfillment or spitefulness. More than anything, I will never contemplate on stream or in publicly, whatever, maybe privately, I don't know. I will never contemplate publicly whether or not someone has gone through or experienced any such trauma, and contemplate it as though, well, if she has, then she should know better, and if she hasn't, then she doesn't know any better. I will never do that. I'll never speculate that. I'll never set anyone up for failure, depending or regardless of what side they fall on and whether or not they've experienced trauma. Because in my opinion, that's fucking worse. That's worse than pointing out that someone lied about an advocate, a professional, an investigator, and that there was proof and now evidence that she lied. I just find that to be worse, because you don't even know anything. Nothing's been learned or acquired or investigated or whatever. You're going off of purely speculation, and you're doing it because you're big mad. Yeah, in my opinion, that's fucking worse. That's way fucking worse. So, on that note, I am going to be wrapping this up because I think I just heard someone come home. So, it's my son. Oh, he's home early. Oh, cool. All right. So, thanks for being here, everyone. I'll probably stream tomorrow sometime. I don't know when, but I'm not going to be streaming tonight. Although Steve did ask me to do something. He mentioned today, so maybe that, I don't know. He hasn't got a hold of me, so fuck him. No, I'm kidding. All right. Thanks for being here, everyone. And where is it? Outro. Okay. I'm trying to do this so that it works. All right. Bye. Oh, yeah. By the way, my birthday's tomorrow. I made an Amazon birthday wish, but all the items are for the channel to benefit the channel. That's not just shit that I just want, you know. If you feel so inclined, great. If not, great too. Just thanks for being here. I'm really, truly appreciative just to have anyone watch, really, and click on me. So, thanks. Bye.